favorite sources to go after? Why is it one of my favorite sources to go after? I know you say that for all of them. Database, no doubt, is definitely the source that I enjoy coaching from because that's where I get most of the realtors to double, triple, and quadruple their business. Just listed, just sold. This is my baby. This is where I started. This is how I became a very successful realtor early on. Okay, and what do I mean by that? I'm going to share a little bit of story with you guys. I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute or two, and then we're going to get into some value. So, when I first started in the business, some of you may or may not know, my background is in lending. I started out as a lender. Okay, this was way back in the 1900s. 1999 is when I started. And when I started in the business, I started out as a lender. And I didn't know any better. My previous background, I served 5 years at Nordstrom, so I did serve 5 to 6 years of time in retail, and it was a fun journey. But I did feel as if though I was kind of capped out with how much income I could make. I was the top salesperson for my store, and I was making right around 85, 90,000 dollars a year, which does not say a whole lot for being the top salesperson of a commission-based retail organization. So in that, I did get to know some clients. Some of my clients, I started realizing that out of 10 clients, there were 6, 7, or 8 of them that were in some version of real estate. I was always piqued with the interest of that. And one of them happened to be a broker. Broker said, hey, look, as a matter of fact, Rudy, I love you, buddy. Okay, that was 26 years ago that we met. Okay. And Rudy told me, says, you know what, young man, you are a great salesperson. I know. I'm the number one salesperson here. Well, how much money you make in a year? You don't know. I'm making pretty close to 6 figures. Me thinking, of course, that I was this big shot. No, no, no. 6 figures is your basement. Shouldn't be your ceiling. That opened my eyes, and I said, okay, well, tell me more. What do you mean by that? He says, you need to be in real estate. In real estate, you're going to get the opportunity to make more money. He says, I believe in you so much. This is, of course, after about 6 months of courtship. Of course, talking about our business relationship. I was a personal shopper. I took care of a lot of the wealthier clients. And he said, if I don't get you, if you can't get to $100,000 a year minimum, I'll pay you the difference. I took the leap of faith. Okay, this guy believed in me that much. We built up a good brotherhood in that from that little short window. So thank you again, Rudy. And in this, as I continued on, got into the business, I started out as a lender, as I mentioned. In the very first 3 months, I was killing it. And what I mean by that, and not in a good way, what I mean by I was killing it is I was generating a lot of leads. I was getting a lot of potential buyers. I was getting people qualified. And you guys would have loved me back then. What I used to do as a lender so that I can establish my relationship is I would give leads to the realtors. Hey, guess what? I got a buyer for you. This one's qualified for a whopping $100,000. Okay. This is back again, 1999. So my average sales price back then was about $86,550. So in that, as I started establishing these, what I thought were relationships, these realtors were taking, and he said, you know what? Why don't you go across the street? His brother ran the real estate office. Okay, the gentleman that I worked for, which I'll leave him nameless, was running the lending company. So I went over to the other side, and again, remember, we're in the 1900s. So back then, it was very, very common to put an ad in the paper, throw a bunch of pictures into a magazine, and wait for the phone to ring. And these realtors, in most cases, they would sit there at the desk, have their newspaper, read the articles, pretend like they're busy, so on and so forth, pick up the phone ever so often, and call their lead follow-up. What am I getting at? What I'm getting at this is that shortly thereafter, it was about 6 months in the business that I was not making any money. And I talked to my other broker, and I said, hey, look, I'm this isn't working for me. Like, I think I'm going to go back. I mean, in 6 months, I was already making almost $40,000, $50,000. I haven't made any money in this thing. You're taking the wrong approach. So then I looked and I said, okay, well, what about that gal right there? She's the number one agent. She's done 21 deals last year. Whoa, 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 kid. To get to 21 deals, there's a lot of work. She's been in the business for almost 15 years. And yeah, it's going to take some time. All right. Well, I got mouths to feed. Okay. At this time, married, 3 kids, had a house, 2 cars, a dog and a cat, and a goldfish to feed. But I wasn't feeding them. So I had to find a different approach. And in this, my broker said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get a copy of that flyer. and go and knock on doors. Okay, what do I tell them? So, what do I tell these people? And I said, well, whatever it is, introduce yourself and ask them if they're thinking about buying or selling. And I kid you not, the very first door I knocked on, I was so scared, but I knocked on the door and I said, hi, my name is Robert. I am with C21 and our brokerage is right down the street. Are you guys thinking about buying or maybe even selling? Yeah, it didn't work. Went to the next door, same thing. Next door, same thing. Next door, same thing. Anyways, I had a personal integrity with myself that I would play, and this is something that was embedded in me. This is something that God has instilled in me. And He said, look, you got 50 flyers, go and use them. And I kid you not, probably around 30 or 40, the door, 30 or 40th door I knocked on, I asked them, and they go, well, we're renting and we've thought about possibly buying. I'm like, oh my gosh, there it is. Breath of fresh air. I finally have a lead that I did not have for a while. So then I started to do, okay, well, on day 2, I went back and did the exact same thing. And this time I got not only a buyer, I also got a seller. You guys got that? So as I continued to move on, and I said, if I could get these results with 50 doors, what would that look like of 100 doors? Well, shortly thereafter, wasn't too much longer, 3, 4, 5 months later, I came across a gentleman by the name of Mike Ferry. Okay. And I love Mike Ferry. I appreciate all the things that Mike has done for me, and all the accomplishments that I've had in this business. And I remember there was a gentleman sitting up on stage as Mike goes and interviews these panelists. Okay, there was a gentleman by the name of Eddie, and I'll leave him as that. Eddie was up on stage, and Mike goes, hey, Eddie, I hear you're going to make $2 million this year. And I had my ears intrigued. Okay, $2 million, huh? I got to listen. So this guy with his fancy watch, he's sitting up there. This isn't a fancy watch, it's an Apple Watch. So anyways, he's sitting up there with a fancy watch, and Mike goes, hey, I understand you know all of our scripts by heart. Eddie says, yeah, I do. I know all the scripts by heart, and that's basically what makes me successful. And Mike says, okay, well, let's try it. Let's see exactly. Now, if in front of 5,000 people, Eddie goes and says the script verbatim. Boom. And I said, I got to be like that guy. And what was the script? The Just Listed script. And as soon as Eddie spit it out, hi, my name is Robert. I'm a local realtor. The reason I'm stopping by is I just listed a property for sale right around the corner from you. It's over on Primrose Lane, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. We just listed a great price of $500,000. And I was wondering, who do you like to move to this area? I appreciate you taking the time to think about it. Tell me, how about yourself when you're planning a move? How long you lived here? Where'd you move from? How'd you happen to pick this area? If you were to make a move, where would you go to next? And he just spit it out just like that. That was impressive. So what I'm going to share with you guys this month, most of the month, okay, because there is going to be a window where I get the good fortune of taking my girlfriend and as well as the entire family. We're going to go on a cruise. So we're going to go hang out on a boat for about a week. So outside of that, we're going to spend some time on how I mastered this particular script. Very first year I did 42 deals. Second year I did 86. Third year I did 101 transactions. Yep, that's right. From door knocking. At 15 years old, I was gangbanging, doing stupid stuff, burying my best friend. He was murdered, having a kid. Yep, a dad at 15. Okay, and I was doing stupid stuff. So I had to learn how to become a professional. And this script is what helped me become that version. So I'm going to share with everybody this particular script. So as I said, I'm going to be on my soapbox for a little bit. I said 3 minutes. It was actually 7 minutes. So let me continue. Now, what we need to do to meet masterful prospectors, not just in Just Listed, is we have to be able to correlate the strength between the prospecting and the goals that we achieve. We have to remember that. So the prospecting we do needs to be in direct correlation with the goals that we have. And it's important. Why? Because we find ourselves all the time where we have these battles. Even this morning, oh gosh, all right, fine, let's do this. Let's go listen to that dude. Right? And here's the one thing. Having the good fortune of having 26 millionaires that I've coached in the last almost 15 years as a coach, and there's going to be number 27 and number 28 this year. The one thing I can tell you that separates the people that have had high levels of success, including myself, and those that struggle, and those that are just kind of just above the Mendoza line. Okay, that's a baseball term. Those of you that are just paycheck to paycheck, and some of you are there right now. I get it. I understand. You're like, oh gosh, goodness, today's June 3rd. I don't even know how to pay rent. I don't even know how to pay my mortgage. And I get that and I understand. Hey. And we don't just want to be in survival mode. We don't just want to survive. We don't want to survive anything. We want to thrive. We want to be in a position where we excel so much that it's worth being in the situation that we're in. We want to excel so much that in this business, we can make a legacy. So, in that, those goals, the commonality with my most successful clients is that. And you have to understand it. And you're sitting there, as I'm saying this, you're sitting there saying, well, what is my goal? I don't even have a goal. I don't even know if I really want to continue in this business. Right? But those of you that want to be successful, uberly successful, and get to that next level, we have to have goals. And this isn't the class for that. But in prospecting, because remember, as I talked about, there were days where I'd knock on the door and I'd say, please don't open. I don't want to talk to anybody today. But I had the personal integrity that I had the 50 flyers and I had to go and distribute them. And then eventually, of course, the 100 flyers. And of course, the way that it works, this is how God works. God works in mysterious ways. Okay. He shows up even when we don't think so. And I would sit there, oh, please don't answer. Please don't answer. And then finally somebody answers, okay. Hi, my name is Robert. I'm a local realtor. We have a listing down the way over on Banana Street. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. We have it listed at a great price of $200,000. And I was wondering, who do you know that wants to move in the area? Oh, you don't have anybody? All right. Well, how about yourself? When are you guys thinking about moving? Oh, you are? Okay. Where are you guys moving to? Oh, something bigger. Oh, nice. Okay. So are you guys needing to sell this house to get over to the other one? Okay. All right. Cool. Well, yeah, why don't we get together and let's see how I can be of some help to you? How soon are you wanting to accomplish this? Boom. That's how God works. Okay. Even on the days that I didn't want to. But because I had that personal integrity with myself and I had certain goals that I wanted to achieve, and even on the days that I did not want to, I still pushed and moved forward. And I need you guys to do the exact, well, I don't need you guys to do anything. You don't need to do anything, but your family deserves that. Your loved ones deserve it. Okay. I would disappoint myself. I still disappoint myself. But when it comes time to our loved ones, it's completely different. For the person that's to your side, you will make every sacrifice possible so that we can continue to move forward in a forward direction. Okay. Now let me open it up to the audience. I'm going to continue to give some points. We are going to be talking about, we're going to break down the entire script. It's not going to be me on my soapbox. And for those of you guys that are here for the very first time, thank you for being here. Okay. Because I don't normally do the soapbox thing. But I do want to make sure that there's always, from every class, that there's a point or 5 that you guys take away that you can implement today. But let me ask, is there any questions that I can address, or what challenges are you guys dealing with that we can, overcome? And again, for those of you guys that are over on YouTube, those of you that are over on Instagram, thank you for joining us. I'm going to encourage you to come join us over on Zoom. And again, thank you for those of you that are also on Facebook. Okay, unless there's any questions, I'm going to continue. Now, we must make a commitment to build our business through daily, consistent, and efficient prospecting every day. Not on the days that you want to. Because the most successful people are the ones that do it, as I mentioned before, even on the days that they don't want to. Let me repeat myself because I want to make sure that I make that very clear. The most successful people in life, I'm not talking about realtors, the most successful people in life do the things that they know that they're supposed to, even when they don't want to. I'm on this journey to lose weight. Okay, I've lost about 6 1/4 pounds. And yes, I do include that 1/4 pound. Okay. But again, as I've said, I keep finding them. Okay. And I'll figure it out. Eventually, I'm going to lose them and forget them. Okay. There'll be that day. Okay. God is my witness. I'll tell you that. But in order for me to lose those pounds, in order for us to hit those goals, in order for us to put that money in that bank account, it's not going to happen because I went to the gym last Thursday. It's not going to happen because we knocked on 50 doors that one time last month. It's not going to happen from that perspective. We have to every single day be consistent on daily efficient prospecting. Efficient prospecting. I know some of you. I had a conversations with coaching clients of recent. Okay, coach, I've been on the phone for 6 hours. Okay, awesome, good. How many contacts do you make? Well, I made 12. What in the world? What are you doing? Well, I was on the phone. I mean, I'm working. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, what are you doing with the other 5 hours that you're twiddling your thumbs and goofing around? Because you're definitely not focused. So we have to look at the efficiencies of with where we're at and what we need to do and how do we continue to improve. Okay. And I know for some of you guys, as I say this, you guys are like, well, he's talking about me. No, no, no. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everybody because everybody finds themselves in that situation. Every single last coaching client has given me this. One of the more successful stories of the people that I've coached in the past, person went from 12 deals to literally the very next year, 46 deals. Drastic lifestyle change, 85,000 to just under 500,000. And because of that, when that person first started, the very first thing the person said is, there's no way I can talk to 20 people in an entire day. None. 6 months later, I need you to do 20 contacts before 10 o'clock. I need you to get 40 contacts before 12 o'clock. And sure enough, the person eventually got there. I want you guys to do the same. I'm going to leave you guys with one more point, and I'm going to add value to the script. Okay. If you have questions, feel free, just jump in. Okay. I don't want to spend too much time asking if you guys have any questions. Now, I want you to create an efficient, going back to efficiencies, pre-prospecting routine. Pre-prospecting routine. Not show up at your desk, get on the phone, and start dialing. There's way more to it than that. You got to get up. Number one is you got to get up at a specific time every single day. What is that time? Okay. And I can tell you that time has nothing to do with the 6 o'clock or the 7 o'clock. Or for some of you that don't have your cameras on because you're in bed. Okay. Anybody ever hear of the 8 a.m. club? How about the 7 a.m. club? There is no such thing, right? How many of you ever heard of the 5 a.m. club? Okay, I can tell you there's a lot of billionaires and millionaires that are part of this club. Are you? So the time that you get up every single day is going to be important. Now in that, do some form of stretching and or exercising. Okay. I'm usually about 80-90% of the time, Lizette and I would go to the gym. We have that as a routine. Doesn't happen 100%. There's some days that just not feeling it. There's some days that there's travel days, but you want to do it the majority of the time. You want to exercise and you want to be in some form of getting the cardiovascular going. Have some version of a healthy breakfast. Okay. I'm not much of a breakfast person. I'll go through these windows of fasting, but when I do, the last thing I want to do is stuff my face with a chorizo burrito. Okay, as good as it is. I love me my chorizo burrito, especially with sour cream. Okay, but that's not going to help me. Okay, so we got to look at something from a healthy standpoint. Do your affirmations. With my coaching clients, that's part of their schedule every single day. And when we get started, it's like, okay, affirmations, I got to do that. Yeah, you got to do some sort of mental exercise. This game that we call real estate, this business we call real estate, this business, is it easy or is it hard? Okay, it's hard. Yeah, I don't know about you, but this thing is hard. Okay, it's simple. Don't get me wrong, but it's still hard. And even in the simplicity, we make it complicated. Okay. But it is hard. And in that, we have to work on our mindset. Our mindset is a muscle. And if you don't work on that muscle every single day, well, guess what? Guess what's one? Those negative thoughts. I want you to also arrive at the office at a specific time every single morning. Now, when I say the office, whether you work at home or you actually go into an office, you got to be at your desk at a very specifically designated time. Now you're going to determine whether that time is going to be, 6:30, 7, 7:15, 7:30, or for that matter, continue showing up at 10:30 to the office. It's up to you. Okay. There's very few people that I know that do an abundance of business that are doing 7 figures that are just rolling into the office ever so often at 10, 10:30. Okay. And if they do, that's probably because they put in their 10, 15, 20 years of hard work. That's a little bit different. Okay. So we have to understand that. The other thing is look at your desk. If you're at a desk, is your desk clean? Okay. Or is it cluttered? Or do you have that stack of what you call are leads? Right? That you haven't called since last Thursday. And not last Thursday, but the last of the last Thursday. Have your numbers prepared. As soon as we're done with this here in 9 minutes, you should be on the phones dialing away. For some of you that are on the East Coast, thank you for, of course, seeing value in this. Hey, as well as those that are in the Midwest, those that are South, those are everywhere. It's not just the West Coast people. I got people here For some reason, I have a really good following in Germany. I don't know what that's about. So all my Germans, I'm gonna eventually learn a couple of words in German, but I appreciate my Germans as well. Okay. Um, when you role play, I want you to role play with enthusiasm. Don't just go through the motions. Okay. And my favorites when it comes time to role play is you have to role play the last scenario, not the made up version, not the one that was, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago that you got once. Okay. I'm not going to make a move because my dog just died, and you keep role playing that. Role play yesterday. The one that it was so close, you had them on the line and they were ready to go, and you sat there and say, okay, perfect. Let's get together with tomorrow, 3 or 5 o'clock work. You want to talk with your wife? I get it. I understand. Talk to your wife. Let's get together though. With 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock work. Oh, you want to think it over? I get it. But let's go ahead and get together. In the meantime, you can think about it. 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock work. I got it. All right, sure. Yeah. I mean, I'll call you next week. I'll follow up. Damn it. Thought I had that one. Role play that version. Why did you not get through the finish line on that one? What is it that you did? What did you do wrong? Okay, I want you guys role playing that version, and you want to role play with enthusiasm. I am as boring of a flat dude as they come. I have to, this right here, what you're seeing, this is not, this isn't a normal version of me. Literally 30 minutes ago, I was in my head talking to God, and we were having a conversation, and I'm just sitting there and I'm to myself. And here now I am talking to 50 plus people, and I appreciate you guys. And my point in this is that you have to be in a position where you show up. It's showtime. And that includes role play. One of my favorite athletes of all time is Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, two of them. And they always said, Kobe looked, of course, up to Michael, was you want to practice harder than you play. The game should be the easiest part of your day. And I took that to heart. Some of you role play the 1 or 2 times. I need you role playing 10 times a week. I need you practicing your scripts at least once, if not twice, if not 50 times on your own throughout the day. Which I'm going to talk about at a later time, how to memorize. And then number 2 is to internalize. And the difference between memorize and memorize is knowing the words. Internalize is being able to regurgitate the words in your personality style. And or even the doctrine or mastery of that is being able to regurgitate it in their style. Okay. Last point, which is the most important point. You got to have fun. Okay. You got to have fun. Okay, because prospecting, is it dead as doornails? Is it boring? Is it banging your head on the wall, or is it a blast? Okay. You got to find some version of fun in that. Okay, put some music on, have a little fun. Call up your people. Send me a text. Hey Robert, thank you so much for the message. I appreciate it. Here's a selfie. I'm rocking and rolling. I'll take it. You guys should all have my number anyways. Okay, and you guys are welcome. And Lizette's giving me permission. You guys are welcome to slide into my DMs too. Okay, so you guys can go ahead and send messages and tell me you're interested in coaching. I'll tell you more about it too. Okay, feel free to slide into those DMs. All right, so enough of that. I gave some points. We talked about prospecting. We have to correlate that with the goals that we achieve. We talked about building a consistent, daily, efficient prospecting routine. And then from that, what is your pre-prospecting routine? Okay, so those are the 3 key points that I want to make sure you guys all took away. Let me open it back up to the audience. Questions, comments, concerns. What are some challenges you guys are dealing with that we can go ahead and address? All right, just listed, just sold. How many of you have a challenge with the opening? It's too long. Other than 90% of you. We have to remember that the opening of the script, which we got about 4 minutes left, so let me go ahead and share the script with you here very quick. The opening of the script on the just listed, okay, and I'm going to give all credit to Mike. This is all Mike's works. Okay, so I want to make sure that I give credit where credit is due. Now, in this script, let me share that with you. All right, in the script, Most of you will have this as, oh my gosh, it's way too long. And again, for those of you guys that are over on YouTube and Instagram, you guys got to come join us over on Zoom as I constantly share stuff. Okay, so you got to be able to see what we're working on. Now, as far as that is concerned, the script in itself, the opening, the most important thing is being able to create a sense of separation. And what I mean by a sense of separation, sorry, my computer just does random things as you guys are all observing. The opening, hi, John. Hi, John. My name is Robert. I'm a local realtor. And the reason I'm calling is we just listed a beautiful home right around the corner from you over on Banana Street. Yeah, it has 3 bedrooms. It has 2 baths, and we have it listed at a great price of 500,000. I was wondering, who do you know that wants to move here into the neighborhood? When we do this, there's going to be a couple of things which I'm going to highlight tomorrow. Okay. When we do this, we have to be able to slow down, speed up, heighten our voice, lower our voice, emphasize. And the way we emphasize, I'll give you guys a quick little prospecting tip, is you pause. When you're sitting there and you are going through your entire everything, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in a position where you just pause, it creates a sense of emphasis. Because all they hear is blah, 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 blah. Huh? Oh, got it. The power of a pause is probably as important as it is when it comes time to repeating and affirming, because it gets them to tie in. So if you'll notice in my speaking pattern, as I go through with you guys, there's a large percentage of the time that sure, I get on this high energy, but then all of a sudden when I get to a point, I will almost always do a change of pace. And in that, I pause and I start to slow down my speaking pattern. Are we all on the same page on that? We're going to continue to break this down. I know it's just the beginning. I know that I didn't cover too much of the script. We are going to continue to work on this. Okay? But I want to get to the point to why are we doing this is an important factor, along with the what are we doing. Okay, so we got 30 seconds here. Any last questions and closings? In closing. Nope. All right. So tomorrow, here's what I want to do. When I ask this question, what are some questions, comments, concerns, observations? I want you to come to the table with, when I prospected yesterday, that's always going to be the best thing. When I prospected yesterday, this is what I got. How should I handle it? I had this client, had this situation. How do I handle this situation? How do I respond? A person told me that they wanted to keep the house as a rental and they're no longer going to sell it. Good. I'm glad. I love the fact that we are getting the opportunity to work with great investors like yourself, and you see the benefit and the value of keeping real estate. What I want to do, though, is I want to show you how millionaires and billionaires make their money. If there's a way that I could double, triple, or quadruple your income, would you want to know about it? Well, what do you mean? Well, here's the thing is you have one door, one tenant. If that tenant ends up leaving, how much income are you receiving? Well, none. Well, see, with what you have, Mr. and Mrs. Potential Investor, is you have with what we call as a high risk, low reward asset. What I'd rather do is sell this property, move that money over to a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. Let's use a fourplex as an example. Let's say even 2 of the tenants ends up leaving. As you can see, you still have 50% of the proceeds that are coming in. And you have 4 sources of income when they're all sold, they're all being rented out, I'm sorry. And this is with what millionaires and billionaires use as a vehicle. And this lowers your risk, yet higher the reward. So keeping it is a great idea, but a gooder idea is let's talk about it. Do you want to do that tomorrow at 3 o'clock or should we do it at 5 o'clock? We're going to keep doing that throughout the rest of the month. I want to take the minute to say thank you to all of you for showing up here. I really appreciate it. And I do want to continue to say thank you. Think of a person or two that can use the benefit of what we're working on here. Okay. Because in that, I want to continue to grow the audience. We are going to get to 100 by the end of the year, whether you like it or not. Okay. So I'd like it to be with you versus without you. With that being said, let's go ahead and close this thing. Go take a listing or 5. Let's talk tomorrow. Okay, so no class today, but I'll see you guys tomorrow, 7:30. Thank you guys for all tuning in. I'll see you guys then. Have a good one. All right, guys. I'll see you guys later. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to see you on Zoom tomorrow. See you soon.